This is the Juicy Astrology for Saturday, December 11th through Saturday, December 18th, 2021. Welcome. Beauties, welcome to Circling Back to Love, the Juicy Astrology for Saturday, December 18th through Saturday, December 18th, 2021. I'm Divinely Jennifer. I keep having to tell myself that the sun is still in Sag, and we haven't yet crossed the solstice threshold. The Capricorn energy is so strong already and will get stronger this week, as Venus and Pluto have their first of 3 conjunctions, and Mercury joins them with Juno, who is reminding us that we have to be committed to our committed relationships, even and especially when we hit obstacles and an uphill climb. Sometimes in Capricorn, we want to constrict our hearts. It's a challenge to keep our hearts open. It's like when we're cold and we close off our bodies and we wrap our arms around ourselves to stay warm and protect ourselves from the cold. You may find yourself doing that emotionally and spiritually right now to protect yourself, to protect your heart, where it feels challenging to stay open to love, hope, and trust. However, we're not done with Sag yet, with Mars's entrance into the sign of adventure and the big picture this week, along with the full moon in Gemini. No longer bound by the shadows of the eclipse, the moon and sun can finally say what they really think. Keep a pen and paper or your phone handy to jot down any ideas that come your way. This week is very busy astrologically. I'd like to say that things lighten up for the holidays, but I would be lying. There's a lot happening in the skies. There are some days over the next few months that may bring you to your knees, where you have no choice but to surrender to the will of the divine. Ultimately, though, those deep surrenders are so powerful because they force us to get out of the way so that the universe can work its magic on our behalf. That happened to me last week with the Venus-Eris square. I spent half the morning crying, and then, after I surrendered, I gave one of the best readings I've ever done because I got out of the way. The burdens of the universe do not rest on your shoulders, nor on the shoulders of any one person. You don't have to have it all figured out. As one of my favorite mama friends used to say, many hands make light work. Let me say that again. Many hands make light work. Even when you're feeling alone, the divine and the cosmos are always here to help. We just have to ask. If you need to call on your cosmic guides and lighten your load, I invite you to schedule an astrology and health reading with me on my website at www.divinelyjennifer.com. Thanks to all of you who have purchased readings for your favorite people. I promise to take very good care of them. If you want to buy gift cards for your favorite people, simply click View Products and Packages at the top of my booking page to purchase a gift session for yourself or for others. Likewise, I'll be offering an online retreat during the Venus retrograde from December 19th to January 29th with a couple of treasured soul sisters. We're still ironing out the final kinks, but you should see signups going out this week. And with no further ado, let's get to the Juicy Astrology for Saturday, December 11th through Saturday, December 18th, 2021. All times listed are Pacific Standard Time, so please adjust according to your time zone. Saturday, December 11th. The waxing moon starts the day in ethereal, empathic, and dreamy Pisces. Give yourself permission to daydream. She goes void with a trine to Mars in Scorpio at 11:39 a.m. Pay attention to any intuitive feelings during this time. She enters sassy, feisty, independent, and courageous Aries at 1:46 p.m. There are 3 big transits today. Are you ready? Okay, first, Venus makes her first of 3 conjunctions to Pluto in Capricorn at 8:28 a.m. this morning at 25 degrees 19 minutes of Capricorn. You'll feel these conjunctions as if you have any planets. Well, you're going to feel the conjunctions no matter what, but you'll feel them Even more if you have any planets in your natal chart at 25 degrees, and especially in Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, and Libra. So if you look at your natal chart and you have a planet at 25 degrees of Aries, you're going to feel this very strongly because that energy is square. They come together, Venus and Pluto, come together again on December 25th when Venus is retrograde, and then for the third time on March 3rd, during the biggest astrological week of 2022. Mark your calendars now. Venus is pure love. She is the innocent girl making her way through the woods, like Little Red Riding Hood, off to bring hugs and goodies to her grandmother. In his higher frequencies, Pluto isn't quite the big bad wolf here. Even the god of the underworld is not immune to Venus's love and goodness. In fact, Venus melts a little bit of ice from Pluto's heart. By the time she completes her third conjunction in March, she will have utterly transformed him through her love, from the pale and stale authoritative power seeker to a protectorate of the young feminine. At least in the new Earth paradigm, because the 3D world still has the US Pluto return to contend with in February. These conjunctions form the foundation for Venus's retrograde through Capricorn. She hasn't met with Pluto during a retrograde since 1986, when they were both in Scorpio, where Pluto is the modern ruler. Now, I'm going to get a little dark for a minute with what I say, but trust me, we'll circle back to the love in just a minute. At that time, in November of 1986, a figure we'll call Dr. Jekyll, not his real name, had been running the division of the U.S.'s National Institute of Health that was supposed to be helping people to stay healthy. Instead, he lobbied for a law in Congress, helped lobby for a law, which was signed by President Reagan during Venus's retrograde, and which removed any liability for vaccine injury and death claims from pharmaceutical companies as well as the healthcare industry. Meaning, if a person became injured or died from a vaccine, whether properly or improperly administered, no one could be sued for damages, no matter what. This meant that pharmaceutical companies now had zero incentive to create safe and effective vaccines because they would be held liable for neither safety nor efficacy. It's laws like this that made my working in conventional healthcare as a nurse, even a holistic nurse, impossible because of how the healthcare system violates the trust of those seeking health. At this time, we were also in the middle of the AIDS crisis, when the same physician, Dr. Jekyll, also played a major role in blocking AIDS patients from accessing medications that actually helped them versus AZT, which was incredibly expensive and toxic and killed far more people than it helped. But AZT did make people like Dr. J very powerful and wealthy. You can say that Dr. Jekyll in this scenario was Pluto in Scorpio at his worst, power-hungry, greedy, even sadistic. Dr. Jekyll is still impacting lives through government restrictions. Pluto in Capricorn at its worst, not only in the US, but throughout the world, in countries like New Zealand, Australia, Austria, and Germany. This energy is, of course, some of the lowest and basest frequency of Pluto. I share it with you so that you are aware of what potential energies you could be encountering and how one could experience it. However, I want to reiterate, based on my conversations in my community and with many of you in our one-to-one readings and through your comments and emails that I receive on almost a daily basis, I truly believe, I know all the way to my toes, that we can use these transits for good in our lives, not only for ourselves as individuals, but for offering our gifts as part of the New Earth Collective. So let's circle back to the love and goodness of this transit. Pluto knows that the world can be a hard place. He knows that eventually Venus, the embodiment of innocent, pure love, might lose her innocence through her experiences in the world. Allow this transit to be a loving moment between Venus and Pluto, where Pluto stops Venus on her merry way through the woods and says, "Hey, it's cold out here. Are you warm enough?" "Yes, Pluto." "Do you have extra socks to keep your feet warm?" "Yes, Pluto." "Do you know which path to take?" "Yes, Pluto." Both Pluto and Venus know that Venus will have to come back to Pluto in just a couple of weeks when she goes retrograde and journeys into the heart of the Mother and the arms of Mother Earth. And they're both willing to play along with the game today because it makes them both feel empowered and loving. For now, take some time to honor and nourish your inner child. Go play in the snow if you have some on the ground, or the mud. Go mushroom foraging. Obviously, only eat them if you know they're safe. Or bake some chocolate chip cookies. Or just make the cookie dough. It's up to you. By the time Venus returns to Pluto in Capricorn for the third time, she and all of us will be very, very different after a 40-day heroine's journey. A few hours later, Mercury in Sagittarius sextiles Jupiter in Aquarius at 11:24 a.m. They're both at 26 degrees, 57 minutes. What spiritual teachings will you take with you into the future? You might feel inclined to get on a soapbox with a microphone with this transit and start preaching, since Jupiter has a tendency to magnify and expand. If you're writing a book or working on a big project, you may also get loads of inspiration for this transit. Again, keep that pen and paper or your phone handy so you can write down all those ideas. Finally, the Sun in Sagittarius scores Neptune in Pisces at 10:21 p.m. They're both at 20 degrees, 26 minutes. Information can be so deceptive. I know many people who swear by the book The China Study to support the health benefits of being a vegan or vegetarian. And I also know many people who feel that this same book has been thoroughly debunked and is not true. That's how this transit feels. This is not energy with which to make a decision because you can't be sure what's accurate. On the other hand, this is a great transit for applying spiritual practices to connect with the divine. Meditate, read, take a walk in nature, soak in a tub, let your mind wander, or don't even feel the need to think at all. Sunday, December 12th, the waxing moon remains in Aries all day. She focuses much of her day on healing, making sure that her inner candle stays lit. This is great energy to attend a group movement class like dance, tai chi, or yoga. This morning at 7:50 a.m., retrograde Ceres has her last conjunction with the North Node in Gemini until 2040. They're both at 1 degree, 37 minutes of Gemini. This is their second conjunction in Gemini since August. They'll come together one more time in Taurus on January 31st, then won't conjunct again until 2025. So let's make this one count. What communications and ideas have you been conceiving or nurturing since August 24th? What seeds have you been planting through communication? When I say communication, I mean any exchange of thoughts, ideas, and feelings through spoken, unspoken, and written words. This can also include prayers and affirmations. Take some time to revisit, revise, or review what you've been writing, speaking, journaling, blogging. Are you communicating authentically from the heart, or are you saying what people think or what you think people want to hear? How would your communication change if you knew that every word you thought and spoke shaped your destiny? This transit feels especially significant given this week's full moon on the 18th. Monday, December 13th, the waxing moon is feeling bold and brave all morning in Aries. She gets into a tiff with Venus and Pluto in the afternoon when she makes Venus cry and Pluto yells at her. She goes void with a sextile to Jupiter in Aquarius at 6:52 p.m. Be gentle with your words, as your bark may come off worse than your bite. The moon is void the rest of the evening. Today, both Mars and Mercury change signs. At 1:52 a.m., Mars moves from Scorpio, one of his favorite signs, into Sagittarius, where he is more carefree. After all of those long-term plans that Venus, Mercury, and the Sun made, and all of the studying and meditating, Mars is ready to take action to put those plans together. Research where you want to go and what you want to do. Book the flights, rent the car, do a solstice ritual, make a live it list, take courageous action towards your future, your goals, and your purpose. Mars remains in Sagittarius until January 24th, when he'll quickly meet up with Vesta and Venus in Capricorn after Venus stations retrograde, after Venus stations direct. He and Venus will be the stars of the show for several weeks after that, and I am really excited about it. Then, at 9:52 a.m., Mercury moves from Sagittarius, the sign of his detriment because he has a tendency to preach, into Capricorn, where he is much more deliberate and discerning. The shadow side of Mercury in Capricorn is that people tend to think that they are the expert, or they trust what the authorities have to say. He'll move swiftly through Capricorn before entering Aquarius on January 1st or 2nd, depending on your location. But alas, he'll go retrograde in Aquarius on January 14th and then back into Capricorn on January 25th, where he'll stay until February 14th, just before that full moon. Although it could be intense to have both Venus and Mercury retrograde for a couple of weeks, I'm actually looking forward to Mercury's backtracking. It will give all of us a chance to slow down, to review, reevaluate, revisit, and return before restarting something. Once he stations direct on February 3rd, all planets will be direct and will need not just a seatbelt, but a 5-point harness for this roller coaster called life. Tuesday, December 14th, the waxing moon enters Taurus at 12:10 a.m. She is exalted in Taurus because she can take her time to luxuriate in love and pleasure. Allow your senses to be nourished while she's in Taurus. It's when we stop to pause and smell the roses, or the holiday essential oil blend, that we feel whole. There's no point in rushing just yet. In the only major transit today, Mars in Sagittarius opposes retrograde Ceres in Gemini at 5:05 p.m. They're both at 1 degree, 8 minutes. This is like the prodigal son coming home for December holiday after his first semester of college, and he knows everything. Ceres, his mother, has to decide whether or not to engage in a loving debate, to put him in his place, or simply to listen. You may need to activate all three strategies, but always activate them with love. Wednesday, December 15th. This is one of my favorite days astrologically for this week. The waxing moon is in Taurus all day. She lets herself shed tears of joy and love. Emotions, emotions, can feel like emotions, emoceans sometimes, and that can be a good thing. Allow yourself to dream of the new earth in all its beauty and divinity. There are 3 major transits today. First, the Sun in Sagittarius trines retrograde Eris and Aries at 4:33 a.m. They're both at 23 degrees, 44 minutes. This is a lovely moment for the wounded feminine. The Sun shines a light on your favorite feminine teachers and spiritual guides. Who are the wise women, women of all ages, generations, and times, who have shaped your thoughts and beliefs in ways that empower you to be your best self? We are all beautiful and radiant, no matter our wounds and scars. Then Mars in Sagittarius conjuncts the South Node in Sagittarius and opposes the North Node in Gemini at 12:12 p.m. They are all at 1 degree, 41 minutes. Mars is the last planet to make this transit before the South Node marches into Scorpio and the North Node into Taurus in January. You may feel conflicted about beliefs and teachings of your past if they are not aligned with your soul's path. The energy is ripe for releasing the old paradigms so that you can move forward towards your future with optimism and a sense of adventure. Personally, I've been working a lot on releasing old beliefs about my value and self-worth. This stuff is so sticky. They're not just my beliefs. They're the beliefs of generations embedded in my DNA. It's not like I can just sweep them into a pile and then grab the dustbuster and poof, they're gone. Mars is tenacious though. He says, girl, enough with the pity party and focus on your soul's path. Acknowledge those old beliefs, fears, and teachings, and then meditate on what you're calling in, as the North Node encourages. I find that pulling a card or 2 or 3 from a deck like the Sacred Rebels deck or the Space for Magic deck can be really helpful in taking a single step in the most loving direction on my path. And sometimes that step is to do nothing. Finally, Uranus and Taurus trines Juno and Capricorn at 6:14 p.m. They're both at 11 degrees 17 minutes. Committed partnerships get lightning bolts of inspiration and intuition today. There may also be an earthquake or two. Uranus is not interested in the same old, same old. He wants your relationships to transcend the portal into the new earth, and that may mean doing some things differently. In general, I really like this transit for relationships if you've both been doing your work on yourselves. Shake things up today by bringing the unusual and the innovative to your love. Thursday, December 16th. This is a big day for the waxing moon. She starts the day in Taurus, feeling empowered and full of so much love. She goes void with a sextile to Jupiter in Aquarius at 8:08 p.m. Actually, that would be a square to Jupiter in Aquarius at 8:08 a.m. Hold off on any holiday shopping until the afternoon if you have a tendency to overspend on yourself and your peeps. She moves into talkative, social, intellectual, and curious Gemini at 12:42 p.m. and meets up with Ceres and the North Node for some delicious conversations about the new Earth. She later opposes Mars in Sagittarius, who is telling her to stop chatting and get to work. This could apply to those of you finishing up final exams this week. There are no major transits today. Friday, December 17th. The waxing moon in Gemini geeks out about healing and creating new structures for the new Earth in the morning. In the afternoon and evening, she gets distracted by her dreams and by her guru. Give yourself time to meditate and have some quiet time with all of the ideas flowing in right now. There are also no major transits today. We'll make up for it tomorrow. Saturday, December 18th. This is a very big weekend, so I'll cover Saturday in this video, which includes the full moon, and Sunday's Venus retrograde in the next video. As I mentioned, be sure you're on my mailing list or following me on Instagram or Telegram to get the sign-up info for the online Venus retrograde retreat. The waxing moon is in Gemini all day. This is like the first week of classes at Hogwarts, the wizard school for kids like Harry Potter. Although the general attitude is one of curiosity and excitement, there's also plenty of confusion and idolatry. The full moon in Gemini happens at 8:35 p.m. The moon is at 27 degrees 28 minutes of Gemini, while the sun is at 27 degrees 28 minutes of Sagittarius. Any planets or points between 27 and 28 degrees in your natal chart are going to feel this especially, and especially those planets and points in Sag, Pisces, Gemini, and Virgo. I've had a hard time formulating into words what this full moon signifies. This is ironic, given that it's all about communication and thoughts. This full moon marks the end of eclipse season, hallelujah, and is a culmination, an explosion of how thoughts become things, to use the words of author and speaker Mike Dooley. The energy of this full moon is, your wish is my command. The divine loves us so deeply that she is willing to answer our every prayer and ask. This means that from this point on, starting right now, as we awaken to the new earth, we must absolutely pay attention to our words, our thoughts, and our vision of what we are manifesting and creating. Of course, We are all works in progress in this regard. At least I know I am. And that is exactly perfect for where we all are on our respective journeys. This Gemini full moon is full of ideas, thoughts, and words. She can be scattered and superficial, but she can also come up with some real gems. A journal to spill them all out onto the page could be helpful to hone in on the thoughts and ideas that really matter, the ones that come deep within from your heart. It's like rummaging through the clearance rack at a big store, 99% of which is overpriced junk that won't last beyond one season. But then, in your searching, you find a beautiful, perfect cashmere sweater in your size and the perfect color, marked down to fit your budget. Totally worth the rummaging, because you know that it will last for several seasons. Whatever thoughts and ideas that come from deep within your heart, these are the ones that the sun in Sagittarius wants to cultivate in the season or in the spring. So these are the thoughts and ideas that the sun is going to hold on to. These are the seeds that the sun is going to cultivate in the spring. These are the seeds to nourish and protect until planting season. So much information constantly comes at us through technology, 24/7 news channels, social media, email feeds. It can be hard to listen and hear our hearts, to know what to discard and what to keep for the long term. How can we discern what's truly coming from our hearts? For this full moon, generous Jupiter can help us shine a light on our thoughts and ideas. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, where the sun is. And he's in a trine with the moon in Gemini and sextiling both the sun in Sag and Eris in Aries. Here's how we can apply the energy of Jupiter. Some of the thoughts and ideas you know you can discard right away, like the items in the clearance rack. They're not the right size, the right color, the right texture. Others you may need to examine more closely. How does the thought make you feel? Do you feel optimistic, happy, and loving? If yes, it's a keeper. How does it fit within your long-term plans and hopes for the future? Does it allow you to be of service using your unique gifts? If yes, it's a keeper. How does a thought inspire your creativity and dreams? Does it make you want to grab your favorite pen and journal some more? If yes, it's a keeper. Do you see where I'm going with this? If your thoughts become things, then you want them to feel good in your body and in your heart. If they make you feel wounded, ashamed, or angry, they're thoughts and ideas that you probably want to let go of. If they hearken to a time of scarcity rather than abundance and happiness, they're thoughts and ideas you want to let go of. The thoughts that inspire love are keepers. Let Gemini blow oxygen on the few ideas and thoughts you want to kindle, the ideas and thoughts that you want to take fire either now or in the future. As the Ceres North Node conjunction reminded us earlier this week, we have the ability to create our destiny through our thoughts, words, and ideas. Let's use these ideas, these thoughts, to be of service to the new earth and to create the world in which we want to live. We all have our unique gifts, and our thoughts and ideas help bring them to life. Just before the full moon, Mercury in Capricorn squares Chiron in Aries at 6:55 p.m. They're both at 8 degrees 26 minutes. This is another transit about communication that feels especially powerful given what I just said about the full moon. There are lots of quotes out there about words and swords, perhaps the most well-known being, "The pen is mightier than the sword." Talk about a true statement. Just look at the last 2 years, especially in the way that mainstream media has rather shamelessly promulgated the agenda of Big Pharma, mostly under the cloaks of government officials and proclamations, to harm people through the dark energies of fear and control and scarcity. Of course, Chiron knew better than any healer what an effective love balm love could be. Our words always have the potential to harm or wound others, and they always have the potential to bring love and healing. This is a beautiful transit to take responsibility for and reflect on words you may have spoken or written that caused harm, whether intentionally or unintentionally. You don't have to take out a billboard with an apology in 14 karat gold. Simply having an awareness, without shaming yourself, of what you may have said and how you may have said it can be an act of selfless love. Chiron is stationing direct tomorrow after having been retrograde since July 15th, so his healing energy can be particularly effective right now. Okay, beauties, it may be getting colder outside here in the Northern Hemisphere, but the astrology is definitely heating up like the Australian bush. The cosmos are not taking a holiday during the holidays this year. Although the energy is challenging at times, for the most part, I'm very optimistic. Thank you, Sun, Mars, and Vesta in Sagittarius, about the world we are creating together. Through you, I have the privilege of witnessing the possibilities of what's to come as you share with the world your gifts, your passion, your love, and your light. How blessed we all are to be alive in this moment. I love you. Thank you so much for joining me here. Have a beautiful week and take care. I'm Divinely Jennifer, and I'll see you the next time.